Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Doc Kane from the podcast. What's the podcast called? Marketers Who Can't Market, because that's me. That's how I feel. 20 years plus in marketing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Is that you? If you're that kind of person, if you're a marketer, a blogger, a writer, and you think you know a thing or two about marketing and you're wondering these days, not so sure, you're in the right spot. That's what this podcast is about. And today I want to talk about something that's quite interesting to me, and as a writer, has been very interesting to me the past, I don't know how many years, 5, 10 years, something like that, is these cute little plugins that you can install on the back end of your website that tell you like how good your writing is and how good your writing is for SEO, search engine optimization. What's your flesh ease of reading score? Come on, this stuff is ridiculous, right? So you can install Yoast, for example, which is a very common Yoast common plugin that a zillion and a billion, is that a number? Zillion billion people have. It's pretty much junk. I mean, there's some value in these things, but when you think about the suggestions that you get with them, with these plugins with regard to the actual content, much of it is just a joke, right? So, and I've seen what happens is, so you create content and then you have people who believe that these plugins are like magical and they know, like they're so good at telling you what the reader really wants, and don't your title is too long, and you didn't use a number in front of it, because every title has to have a number, right? I'm using rank math right now on my on one of my sites, and it's saying, oh, you have it's like a big X, errors they call it, in the on the right hand column. Error. You did not use a number. Well, fuck, I don't want to use a number. Just because you suggest that some moron is going to click on the article more more quickly because it says 17 ways to whatever, I don't care. That's not what I want to call the article. The article does not need to have these things to be appealing, right? And the thing you have to remember, if you if you um, if you reduce your content, if you deflate it, if you demean it, if you kowtow down to these recommendations, you're going to create shit content. It's going to be watered down. It's going to feel like link bait to the people that you actually do want to reach. People who click on things just because they click on things does not mean they're good readers. Does not mean that they're your kind of reader, rather. So write the article based on what your brain tells you should be saying. Don't worry about length. Don't worry, the general rule of thumb with all content, and I've been arguing this forever, is it should be relatively long, right? You want to be able to tell a complete story. It's a package, right? It's a small story. And if it's like, I used to write a lot of medical content, many of you know, from in the dental industry, and I was writing tons of articles a week, and most of those articles range from somewhere between 5 and 800 words. That's all they did not need to be any longer than that. As I was leaving, there seemed to be a desire to make those even longer, because some guru is saying, oh, well, you're going to get more clicks if they're 1,000 words to 2,000 words or 3,000 words. They don't have to be that long. And someone who wants to read about how to treat their cold sore, or how to choose a good kind of braces style for their kids, doesn't want to read a 2,000 word article. So what's the purpose, right? Is the purpose to educate the consumer, the reader of your blog, or is it just to draw clicks? Is it just to rank? If you want to just rank, it's kind of stupid, really. I don't know why anybody would just want to rank, because people are going to rank, click, and then they're going to go away because it's too long, or they're not going to scroll. And so Google watches these things, especially if you have new analytics, the new G4 analytics code on your website. You're allowing them to see all of these sorts of things, right? So they're going to see people. Okay, people land, but they don't click, they don't scroll, right? So you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. Create the kind of content that people want. Don't do what these plugins are saying that you need to do. There's a caveat, of course, right? There are things that are important with regard to articles, but they're more technical. They're not really about the style. They're not about what's included. They are about URL length a little bit, even though Google, I think, allows somewhere upwards of 270 character long URLs. Most plugins will say you should keep your URL below 75 characters, I think. The only way, or the only reason why that's really valuable is because Google and other search engines, I'm always talking about Google. If you come to Asia, nobody talks about Google here. It's all about Yahoo. It has been forever. But if the URL is too long, you and I, or an advanced skimmer, as you're looking through the search results, are going to see kind of a long URL that's been truncated, and it won't really look so pretty, and it kind of may dissuade you from clicking. So there is an advantage to having a decent short URL in that sense. There may be other very, very minor points that Google gives or takes away based on ranking, and if you look at guys like Backlinko, they'll talk about this a little bit. It's probably so minor, though. And it's frankly, I think, if I think about colleagues I've worked with and people that I see online when they talk about this stuff, I think a lot of people will have a much harder time creating a shorter URL, which is actually a little bit more valuable of a piece of advice, then they will adding in more keywords, right? Or putting a number in front of the title. Because that's easy, right? If your title is whatever, you throw a number in there and oh, wow, okay, I'm making Yoast happy, but you're not making the reader happy. The real benefit is from the thing that's going to take a little bit more time. I want to give you a little bit of an example of how this really gets messy, right? So I have written in the past a lot of really good articles that have shown up in Google, highly ranked for the keywords that they should rank for. Because of this, it contributed to really good scores in Alexa and overall positive ranking performance for things that I've written. And then you get people who go in and start playing around with these plugins like Yoast, and then they start editing the article. Oh, well, we need to put in more keywords here. We need to create more paragraphs, or we need to make it longer, or it needs to be shorter. And then the article that used to read really well, that was a story, right? Every article that I write, at least, and that most people should be writing with a good story flow in mind, is just that, right? It's a story. So you start at the top and you create some interest, and then you build along and you tell them what it is that they need to know, and then you bring it back again at the end, and you either ask them to do something or you allow them to go away with the knowledge that they came seeking. But when you start to alter the article, as I've experienced with other marketing communication teams, and don't do this, it changes the whole crux of the article. So your audience comes and they're intrigued in the beginning, unless you've tweaked it already, and then you get to the middle and it's like, this doesn't kind of really feel right, and what the hell is it? And it just ends flat. Maybe there's some call to action there because someone has told them there should be call to action at the end of every page. No, there does not have to be a call to action at the end of every page, unless you're in the marketing space and you are trying to sell something all the time, right? The goal of every article is not to sell something. I don't care what anybody says. It's not. When you go to WebMD or whatever, are you trying to buy anything? No, right? So be aware of that when you're dealing with these plugins. I like Rank Math. It's pretty good. There's a lot of junk in there that's not necessary. Use your gut. If you don't have the ability to do that, then hire a writer who will help you do that. And allow them to make the choices for you that they know are correct. A good writer will do that. If you're paying somebody 5 cents a word, you're not going to get a good writer. You got to pay people really good money, and you got to give them space to take care of the content for you. When you pay a writer, writers are kind of unique people, especially if you get business-minded writers, and not every writer is this way. But if you find a business-minded writer and you pay them well, they're going to bleed your colors like you would never believe. And they will do everything for you. A writer will try to make everything perfect. They will spend so much time learning how to do real SEO for you in a way that's natural, that makes a difference for the people who come to your page, and they should be rewarded for that. It actually sickens me, and this is definitely something I have to talk about. It sickens me when I read about people in this online marketing space, and I'm in it, right? But I always go to bat for creative people, particularly writers, when I hear this ridiculous argument. But it drives me crazy and it makes me sick that people will talk about how much money they make. Oh, I'm making $70,000 a month. I was listening to today a guy that I like. He's saying I make $70,000 a month. Or I know another gentleman I admire greatly has made $1 million in a year. And if you do follow me for long enough, you'll figure out who these people are. But I don't necessarily want to mention names right now. But these guys are paying their writers. They're using services that contract out to writers, and these writers aren't making anything. They're making I don't know, maybe they make $100 for a 2,000 word article, and these guys are doing 2,000 word articles that require a lot of research and things like that. Make $100 an hour. These writers literally could be making more money at a convenience store. And part of the blame for this rests on the writers because they lack the confidence to be able to kind of charge what it is they should be charging. Just like here in Japan, teachers, English teachers lack the confidence to be able to charge a fair rate. Many of them work for 12, 15 US dollars an hour. Some of them are making 20. But I don't know if they realize, like, you can make 65, you can make 80 an hour. So you don't need, in Japan, they pay for our, what they call commutation, our travel expenses. Nobody really has a car, so we take trains everywhere, in the cities at least. And so travel expenses are a part of the package. And teachers are like really big on that. Oh, well, you're going to pay me my travel expenses, right? Yeah, okay, here's your reimbursement for your cost for, gohyakuen, which is like $5, right? You're much smarter to find a client who will pay you $70 an hour and pay your own travel expense than do willy-nilly with that sort of thing. So the problem is with writers who don't have the confidence to be able to do this thing, but it's also the problem with the people who are making money hand over fist and not paying them the right way. Because here's the deal, guys who make $70,000 a month or $1 million a year. If you found, again, I'll repeat myself, if you found a writer that you paid a portion of that, royalties, you would have far better content and far greater money to put into your pocket and to share than you do now. I guarantee it. And you'd have an employee that would stick around, a real employee, a real person, a person who would help you think about the growth of your business instead of what other job they could do in addition to the one that you're giving them because they can't really take care of their needs and things like that. Pay them well. This is what you should be doing. Okay? So that's it. I'm going to get off my high horse about writing. I forget what the hell I was even talking about here today. What did I start talking about? Oh, Yoast and plugins and everything like that. Yeah, use them with a grain of salt, but use them. My favorite these days is Rank Math. I also use WPMU's Smart Crawl, which comes kind of with the service that I use with them. It works fine. None of these things are perfect, but I find in general that using Smart Crawl gets me pretty good looking results in Google, and Rank Math has been interesting to, I don't know what really, just I think what I like about Rank Math is the interfaces, because it's right in the right hand side of the post when I edit in WordPress. It's just a little friendlier. So with Smart Crawl, I have to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the post in order to do my edits. And I think that's the biggest advantage to me. Other than that, it's not particularly different in the way I use it, at least right now. Yoast is it's free, right? I think it's just something that everybody uses. Just write well. The key to SEO is writing good shit. When you write good stuff, you get good results. So, to hell with the plugins, right? All right, that's it for today's episode. I think it was episode 4. We're on Russell Brunson kick. I almost have a week in already. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself if I actually make it past day 7. So subscribe. There's a little thing I learned today on YouTube. This is like bell thing. Ding, 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 ding. If you click the bell, it will tell you that there's a new episode. These will hopefully get more interesting as I maybe would love to interview people instead of just talking about my own wanderings through town here on my websites. So if you're a marketer, a salesperson, and you have something to say, something that you've learned or something you're struggling with yourself right now and are playing around with to get better at, reach out. I would love to chat with you. And right now, these things are averaging like 16 minutes, I think, or so, 15, 16 minutes. But we could do an hour. We could chat for a while. I could learn about your business, maybe hopefully help promote you, and you can help people learn, because that's what this is all about, right? There's so much out there to get a handle on, and you gotta kind of have to tackle one thing at a time. I'm going in kind of there's a lot of things I've learned over the last year, and I've got 20 years of experience doing a variety of things. So figuring out what to talk about is a little challenging right now. And if you're listening every day, you're gonna eventually start to pick up on, oh, that sounds good, or I should do that, or I should do that. Be careful with that, right? So just like if you listen to Side Hustle Nation, which is fantastic, by the way, you're going to be like, oh, that's a great idea. I should do that. Don't do that. Just pick one thing and kind of focus on it, learn it. Don't let that first thing be Facebook ads, by the way. Maybe content, maybe header structure. Header structure is super important. What you call your H1s, your H2s, your H3s, and then how you use table of contents. That's a great plugin that you should absolutely have. Some kind of table of contents plugin. Whether you're a blogger or a big company, these things are really, really valuable. But anyway, pick one thing and stick with it, right? And you'll start to see results over time. So that is it for today's podcast from Kobe, Japan. Thank you very much for listening. This is Doc Kane. Yeah, subscribe, like, do all that blah blah stuff. Yeah, there's some kind of links below. I'll recap if I mention anything specific that I've already forgotten about. Put a link to that in the notes for you, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Right? All right. Take it easy. Bye. Where's the damn button? I can't find it. There it is. All right. See you later.